Hello, everybody. Wednesday morning. Here I am again with a new topic. So I want to speak today about spiritual material abundance and how you can create it, how practical it is, how simple it is, and how it is already readily available for you. But I just want to say that if you've been following me, so for the past 3 weeks, I think, I've been doing Facebook Lives about the passing of my father to the other side. And it's been really helpful for me to process it by sharing out loud my insights and wisdoms and learnings and growth and change. And it's still going to evolve, but I think that the main pieces I've shared, and now I'm kind of living them and actually embodying them, having a felt sense of them. So I hope that they've been useful for you. And we're going to move in now that I would like to move into a new topic, and that's the topic that I love and talk about all the time, is how to create spiritual and material abundance in your life. So the first step is to have spiritual material balance. We're so out of balance, where Andrew Harvey says that we're so addicted to either materialism or transcending material reality. So either material or too spiritual, that we don't see God right in front of us in everyone and everything. So that's really the first step, to not value spiritual feelings or spiritual principles over material ones. That's the first thing that we need to do, because anything that's material is created by us, by nature and evolution, by source, and even before nature and evolution, in the ethers, in the spiritual realms, everything is created as a thought ID, and then it comes into existence. And so that's how the earth has evolved, right? And that's how we have evolved. And so anything that we create is created from that same source and has the same wonder and magic and love and beauty and innovation, creativity that nature has. And so we should not put down what we create. We should instead imbue it with high qualities, high vibrancy qualities of spirituality, whatever that is for you. So that's the first thing, to create a balance. If you're too materialistic, okay, you need to bring some of your spirit in. Hey, Edna. I just saw that you joined. Welcome. So if you're too materialistic, you need to bring in some spirit in, and you need to see how you're already doing it, because many people are already doing it and not realizing it. And if you're just valuing spirituality over anything material, start looking at the spiritual qualities in your material surroundings, because there's a lot of them around. And you need to appreciate the material world around you. It's an expression of you and of us as a human species. That's what we're here to do, to have a material experience. And you live in a body, and that's material. So that's the first step. So then let's move on to abundance, spiritual abundance and material abundance. So what is spiritual abundance? For me, spiritual abundance is, okay, so let me do this instead. Edna, what is spiritual abundance for you? Just to change here a plan, I was just going to say what it is for me, but if you can say what spiritual abundance is for you, and maybe there is a lag, then I will say what spiritual abundance is for me, but please don't be influenced by it, and just say what it is for you. So spiritual abundance is really having access to this non-material part of us. For some, it's compassion, love, creativity, order. It's much larger than what we think it is. It's not just service and being in the here and now and compassion. It's, in a sense, anything that's emotional, mental, spiritual. Spiritual abundance for me is faith-filled knowing. Wow. Okay. So faith-filled knowing, that is, so I'm just assuming, but you could add to it, that that's the knowing. That's the knowing that what? The knowing, okay, an experience of our spiritual nature, of source. Okay, beautiful. So that is a beautiful way to put it. So spiritual abundance is the knowing of our spiritual nature, of source. Now that is abundant, because we can tap into inner peace now and say, I would like to tune into inner peace, or I would like to tune into abundance, or I would like to tune into freedom, or focus, or purpose, or anything. And the abundance is that you can ask to tap into something and tap into it. You can choose a memory from when you experience that quality and tap into it. So there's an abundance of qualities in the spiritual realm, in the emotional realm, that we can tap into, that take us to an aspect of source, of our spiritual nature. So I wanted to give an example, and if you have an example, then you can share one too, Edna. I wanted to give like a quirky example just to show you how practical it is and how it doesn't have to be something really special. It is special, but it's special in its ordinariness. So freedom is something that is a quality that's really important for me. Okay? When I do acts of freedom that represent freedom for me, I feel spiritual abundance. But I also feel material abundance, and I'll share that in a moment. So I'll give you an example. So when I do things that I do them at a time that is not expected for them to be done at that time, I feel a sense of freedom. And then I feel abundance. So, for example, if there's a show that you love to see, the right thing to do is to see it at the end of the day. You work hard all day, right? And then you do the pleasurable things. Well, I like sometimes to see a show at 2 p.m. or at 4 p.m. because then I feel like I've escaped the traditional routine of what's expected of me, and I feel like an escapade, and I feel a sense of freedom because I've freed myself in a sense of the thought that this is not the right time to do that. And there are people around me who'd never do that. And so I permit myself, I allow myself to do that. And when I do that, I feel freedom. Freedom of constraints, of what's the right thing to do. And when I do that, I feel abundance. Now, if I do that with my spouse, with my life partner, and we see a show at 4 p.m. or at 3 p.m., I feel like, wow, we've gone away on a little escapade, a weekend away. It might be just an hour show, but I feel like we've broken all the rules. And when we break all the rules, I feel free. So you see, it's not something big, it's not something huge, but when I pay attention to it, I go, I'm experiencing freedom right now. And in that freedom, I have spiritual abundance. Because I can tap into, the more I'm aware of that this is a sense of freedom, the more I feel this abundance of freedom from something so small and seemingly insignificant of seeing a show at 4 in the afternoon. I can still get back into bed at 7 p.m. and do a lot of emails and do work until midnight. But I saw a show at 4, which is not the traditional time to be doing it, because I have this idea in my head that you don't do that usually. You do that in the evening after your work day. So this is a practical, small little example of how you can tap into spiritual abundance throughout your day. So if there's anything that you have, Edna, then just share it with me. I'm just going to go to my notes for a second. So now let's go to material abundance. Material abundance, many people go like, oh, you teach how to create material abundance? It's like, but wait a second, what about the landfills? And what about, do we really need 17 Ferraris in our car, in our garage? So I'm not going to judge anybody for what they need to do in this lifetime. Some people go overboard, and some people, this is what their journey is, and this is what they need to experience in order to realize what's important in life and what they really need and what they don't need. And for some people, that's their expression of creativity and abundance. But let me show you how the spiritual and the material come together. The show that I'm watching, that I just shared about, that's a material experience, right? I open my computer, I watch a show. Okay. So for me, there's abundance in that moment because I'm experiencing freedom. I am not playing by the rules that I have in my head. So I experience freedom. That gives me a sense of abundance. And when I sit, on my sofa or in bed and I watch the show, I'm engaging in a material activity, in a physical activity, and I'm experiencing abundance. So abundance can be, I've got water here and I fill this up with warm water, some cold and some warm. And I just refill it all day. That is material abundance for me. Now the water happens to come from the well because we live on a land and so we have our own well. So there's abundance for me. I can be eating an apple and just looking at the beauty of the apple, the colors, if it's reds and oranges a bit maybe, and maybe some green or yellow inside. Sometimes they have these stripes. And if you just take a look and enlarge what you're looking at, suddenly there's abundance of beauty in the apple. So abundance, material, physical abundance is everywhere. I'm looking out to a tree right now. The amount of leaves there are on this tree? I mean, probably hundreds of thousands. That's abundance. So when I look at this, and this is accessible to me as I'm doing my live with you, I'm looking at the tree and the leaves, I can go abundance, material abundance. So abundance is really about possibilities, expanding your possibilities beyond what you're believing they are now or what they actually are now. So when I watch a show in the afternoon and I feel a sense of freedom because I've broken the rules that I have in my head, which maybe are culturally also in everybody's head, but I'm definitely holding them in my head. I'm creating more possibility. And in that creation of more possibility, there lies abundance. Okay? And when I look at an apple and I take a closer look and I look at the colors and the shades in it, I have a moment of beauty. I've just expanded my experience of the material world, and suddenly there is material abundance. And so that is how material abundance is not just about having more money in the bank or having, again, 17 Ferraris in your garage. But I want to speak to money because it's such a big thing. Money gives us possibilities. It expands what we can do. If I have no money, and in my book, Living a Spiritual Life in a Material World, I give an example of a few years ago when my spouse and I only had $6 in our bank account and 2 weeks to wait for the next paycheck. So that experience, I know that experience. When I get money, when I have money, it gives me the possibility to do more things. Because when there's only $6 in the bank, I don't have money to eat. So money allows us to feel stability and safe. So we can nourish ourselves, we can clothe ourselves, we can house ourselves. Maybe we have a car, we can drive ourselves if we need that. So money gives us possibility. Now that's on the plane, on the physical level, which is the basic level. If you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So then the physical needs are the basic ones. So we need money for that, right? To have the possibility to feel safe and stabilize ourselves, right? And be healthy. And then he goes up to self-actualization at the top. And so that's when we go into the emotional and the spiritual and the mental. And so there we want money because there we go like, wow, if I have money, I can give to my children. I can invest in a nonprofit. I can give money for that. I can create my own projects. So money gives us possibilities to do good in the world, to express ourselves, to create, to experience our senses, because we can buy things, we can experience things. So that is why we all want money. We may do it from an awful place, like I want money, I don't have money, but really what it is, it's giving us possibility to dream big, to live big, and to do good in the world on a larger scale. So that is, the common things that I hear people asking me is, what do you mean by material abundance? So now we've clarified that. And there's obviously so much more that we could go deep into, but this is kind of the general idea of it. And so I've created this Dream Big Playbook, which really helps you to dream big. And so to experience abundance in your life. And you can download it. It's, I have the link here and you can download it. It gives you 10 prompts of how to dream big and how to manifest your dream. 5 of those questions and prompts are about defining your dream. And as we spoke earlier about spiritual material balance, and in order to create abundance, you need to ground your dreams in a material reality. Not to become rational and realistic about them, but to ground them in order to make your idea, your seed idea, manifest in our world. Create the conditions for it, the material conditions for it. So 5 prompts are about how to ground your dreams and really flesh them out. And then the second 5 prompts are how to stay inspired as you manifest, as you go into the physical doing. So it's not just a to-do list, a boring to-do list that nobody wants to do, but it's an inspired one. It's an emotionally potent one. And so it's a great playbook. It's a fun playbook, and you can download it for free. That's it for me for today. A lot has been said, deep things, profound things. You see how simple it is in a sense. We just need to change our perspective and start paying attention to the material in our spiritual existence and to the spiritual aspects in our material existence. And then see the daily things that we do already. How can we change our perspective so that we see the abundance that's present in them, both in the material side of our life, the physical, as well as in the emotional and the spiritual. So work with it. We'll see on Friday. I'll do a Facebook Live in the closed, expansive community, which you can join if you haven't yet. And I'll do some practice. I don't know yet what I'll do, but some practice about this to ground it for you more. And I wish you a great rest of your week. And I'll be here again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, USA. Blessings. Be well.